Hey guys, so Q here, and I know this week we are doing Sunday school stories, right? So, of course, I know you guys, or a lot of us here, will know about a bunch of stories: Father Abraham, Daniel, David. There are a lot of stories, and we can talk about Noah, and I know some of the others touched on some stories earlier this week. And what I'm going to be looking at this week is the three Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I know you guys, some of you here, may be very familiar with that story. There were these three Hebrew boys. They refused to bow down to the golden image that King Nebuchadnezzar set up for persons to worship. And they refused. They decided that they are not going to defy God and defy the beliefs that they have on the true and living God. And they chose to stand up for what they believe. And we're gonna go into a little bit of it, a little bit more. So let's just look at the scripture. Was taken from Daniel 3, right? Daniel 3, 16 to 18, right? So first, what I want to do is I want to just look at the names, right? Because interestingly enough, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were the Babylonian names given to these guys. So the actual Hebrew names were Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. I hope I pronounced them correct, right? Very interestingly, these names, right, meant the meaning of the Hebrew names was so profound when it came to this entire experience, right? The Hebrew name for Hananiah, it meant Yah is gracious, right? For Mishael, it meant who is what God is. And for Azariah, it meant Yah has helped us. And very, very interestingly, during this Bible, because I don't really like to call them stories, right? Because they are true. So this excerpt in the Bible, right? God was definitely gracious, right? We saw that, and God definitely helped them, and they portrayed who God is. They stood their belief, they live holy and they live righteous. And before I go into, I have 3 lessons that we can learn from these guys. But before we go into that, I want to just read the scripture a little bit. I'm just going to read from 16 to 30, sorry. So we're going from Daniel 3, 16 to 30. Right? And I'm just gonna read it through very quickly, right? And we'll hear how bold and brave and unapologetic these guys were. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to Nebuchadnezzar, "We do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the burning furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he does not rescue us, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up." I'm going to leave it right there. In this scenario here, we saw that despite, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, they never disrespected or dishonored the king. Everything they said at the end, your majesty. They gave unto Caesar what is Caesar's. But when it comes to giving unto God what is God's, their beliefs weren't shaken. And I believe they served under this king, and there were things they had to do that did not defy their belief. But when it comes to defying your belief, you have to stand, and this is what these guys did. Because they're serving this golden image defied their belief. They decided that, all right, king, yeah, I respect you, I honor you, but when it comes to this, we can't. And there are some things in life that we have to stand up for, and that comes with understanding your beliefs and truly being unapologetic. And I don't want to keep too much time, but I'm going to go into 3 lessons we can learn from these guys, right? Lesson number 1, stay true to God. You see your first love? Go back to that first love. Stay true to God. In James 1, 2, it says, my fellow believers, when it seems as though you are facing nothing but difficulties, see it as an invaluable opportunity to experience the greatest joy that you can. We will never promise a life without trials or tribulations. But the good thing is that we have truth, who is the person who will help us through those trials and through those tribulations. And I'm not just talking because, we read a scripture. No, guys. I have lived and I have seen the power of truly trusting and staying true to God. Because it's very easy when life is easy and everything is golden to stay true to God. But you see, when the tire hit the road, that is where the true test is. And it says here, use it as an opportunity to experience the greatest joy that you can. For you know that when your faith is tested, it stirs up the power of endurance. Guys, you're not doing this on your own. Point number 2, right? Second point, we see here, trust God boldly. We saw here that Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego, they said, even if, right, God did not deliver them, they still wanted them to understand that they would have never bowed, and they were unapologetic. And we need to really be bold and brave and wholehearted and unashamed and unapologetic when it comes to standing up for what we believe. A lot of times, we want to please people. That's all right. We want to please people, and we want this person to like us. The only validation you need is from God. Yeah, that's the only validation you need. Thirdly, know without a shadow of a doubt that God will be with you in what you're going through. He will take you through it, and guess what? He will be there at the end of it all. He will be there. So remember, in your time, whenever you have to go through whatever trials or tribulations, as I said, the scriptures, we weren't promised a life without trials or tribulations, but these trials will show that your faith is genuine. I just want to touch on 2 more scriptures. 1 Peter 1 verse 7, it says, these trials will show you that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold. Through your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through the trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus is revealed to the whole world. That's a very profound scripture. One more scripture I want to go in before I wrap up, and it's in John 15, 1-2. It says here, I am a true sprouting vine, and the farmer who tends to the vine, is my Father. He cares for the branches connected to me by lifting and propping up the fruitless branches and pruning every branch to yield a greater harvest. Guys, sometimes we go through things in our lives and we think to ourselves, what we do to deserve this? It has nothing to do with that. God just wants to yield a greater harvest. So He is pruning. He is pruning you continuously. And it's a continuous process. You understand? Think about the boiling of an egg. Or think about gold. Think about how new wine is made. The crushing. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not punishment. It's God understanding and seeing your potential to help you fulfill your purpose to yield a greater harvest. So it's really not about you, but it's about what we have to do for God and others. Yeah? So remember, guys, you are not being punished. Remember that God, 3 things we have to remember. That's the first one. Let me see if you all remember. Stay true to God. Yeah? Boldly. Trust God boldly and apologetically. And know without a shadow of a doubt that He will be there with you. So I hope you enjoyed this little message. I know it was long, but I hope you enjoyed it. And have a blessed week.